Welcome back. So today we're unpacking an explainer on what I genuinely think is one of the most fascinating psychological studies of human deception I've ever seen. On the surface, yeah, it kind of looks like just an extreme endurance challenge, but beneath all that, it's literally an absolute masterclass in behavioral profiling, game theory, and reading human nature under immense pressure. We're going to break down exactly how one woman turned a totally chaotic, unpredictable situation into a brilliantly calculated detective game.
I want you to imagine this for just a second. You're physically handcuffed to a complete stranger. You sleep next to them, eat with them, move with them 24 hours a day. And the entire time you know that at the very end of this whole experience, this person could secretly press a button and steal $250,000 right out from under you. Crazy, right? So who would you trust? How would you even test them? And how long do you think a liar could actually maintain their act when they're literally chained to your wrist?
Okay, moving on to Section 1, the 30-day challenge, the arena.
Let's dive right into this high-stakes 30-day psychological gauntlet that our protagonist, Alison, bravely volunteered for. The whole framework of this pressure cooker basically rested on 3 absolutely unbreakable rules. Number 1, you never cross the red line bounding the living space. Number 2, never under any circumstances remove the handcuffs. And number 3, and this is the really devious one, at the very end, the stranger gets the ultimate choice to either split the prize or steal the whole shebang. These rules created this intense environment of physical limitation, sleep deprivation, and just total mental exhaustion. There was nowhere for Alison to hide, and more importantly, absolutely nowhere for her suspects to hide either.
And looming over every single conversation, every shared meal, every quiet moment was this massive number, $250,000. We really have to treat this cash prize like a ticking time bomb just sitting in the background of this entire challenge. I mean, this kind of money makes people do crazy things, right? It heavily incentivizes deception on a massive scale. So Alison couldn't just look for traditionally bad people. She had to look for perfectly normal, everyday people who might somehow justify taking a life-changing amount of money all for themselves.
All right, Section 2, the 5 strangers, multiverse variables.
Now, just when Alison thought she kinda had a handle on things, the rules shifted. Instead of just one person, she was subjected to a constantly rotating cast of suspects. And it wasn't just the people changing either. The physical environment was constantly being thrown into total chaos. So we start on day 1 of this tiny, super claustrophobic house. Then by day 10, boom, they're thrust into a massive supermarket with other contestants. Day 15 literally brings destruction when a plane crashes into their house, forcing them to live on a slanted, wrecked fuselage. And then by day 20, they're suddenly relocated to an indoor basketball court. This whole timeline of chaos was perfectly designed to drain Alison's energy and constantly forced her to adapt. And that is exactly when your intuition is the most vulnerable to making mistakes.
So let's look at the suspects in Alison's detective lineup here. We've got Bryce, the cooking motorcyclist. Then Skylar, the super-friendly cheerleader who bonded with her over mint chocolate. We have Juan, the hardworking construction worker and dad of 6, Jason, the cowboy with dreams of starting a kids' camp, but honestly, a very evasive communication style, and finally Bree, the pro basketball player who literally wore her promises right on her skin. Alison had just 5 days with each of these strangers to rapidly profile their entire character.
Next up is Section 3, the psychology of deception. Alison on the offensive. Now, what's really interesting about this is that Alison didn't just sit back and passively observe. No way. She actively went on the offensive, employing what we can call microtests. Early on, she'd just randomly throw objects at Bryce to gauge his flinch response and see his genuine reactions, basically looking to see if he was playing a character or just being himself. She kept her ears peeled for any accidental verbal slips, and most importantly, she flat out refused to accept good vibes as currency. She pressed her suspects hard on whether they would actually promise to not steal the money, and then closely watched their body language when the questions got a little uncomfortable. And you know what? These microtests worked brilliantly. Let's take a look at Skylar. Skylar played the best friend role absolutely perfectly. They bonded over green mint chocolate, they did face masks together, they were literally acting like sisters. But because Alison kept the pressure on, by day 10, Skylar's cognitive load was just way too high. She made this massive accidental verbal slip, casually mentioning the money I'm going to steal before frantically trying to play it off. It just brilliantly illustrates that no matter how good the act is, a liar will eventually drop their guard when they get exhausted enough.
Then we have Bree. Bree heavily leveraged a literal tattoo on her body that said promise to try and establish trust. She really painted herself as deeply loyal. But when Alison cornered her and asked for a direct verbal confirmation that she wouldn't steal the money, Bree hesitated. She deflected. She actually said she'd have to consider it. Alison instantly recognized that behavioral shift. The tattoo was just a prop. The hesitation, well, that was the truth.
Moving into Section 4, Strategy of Elimination, a game theory puzzle.
So this brings us right to day 25, the absolute climax of the challenge. All 5 suspects return, and the game introduces a final, massive twist. Alison is informed she actually has to eliminate the suspects one by one. But here's the real kicker. The specific order of elimination dictates a guaranteed payout for that particular suspect. The first person eliminated gets 10 grand, the second gets 20 grand, the third gets 30 grand, and so on. Instantly, this very specific order of elimination became Alison's most powerful weapon.
So the crucial point here is this. Alison realized she could literally hack the game's payout structure. Instead of just picking her favorite person at the end, she could financially punish the liars and reward the truthful. Game theory dictates you mitigate risk, right? Well, by eliminating the people she trusted the least right at the very beginning, she ensured that even if they had chosen to steal, they would walk away with the smallest possible slice of the pie. This safely preserved the much larger payouts for the people who actually deserved it.
And finally, Section 5, the final test, unmasking the suspects. The stage is officially set for the final ceremony. The blindfolds come off, the wire cutters are out, and let me tell you, her detective intuition was absolutely flawless. She eliminated Jason first, handing him the smallest prize of $10,000. And when his result was revealed, a massive red screen showed he had chosen to steal. Next up, she eliminated Skylar, the supposed best friend, for 20 grand. Red screen again, she chose to steal. Third, she eliminated Bree for 30,000. Red screen, steal. Alison's microtests worked perfectly. She sniffed out every single liar and guaranteed they got the absolute minimum payout possible. Just incredible.
But then came her most masterful move of the entire challenge, the strategic sacrifice. She was left with just 2 people, and she actively chose to eliminate Juan, the incredibly honest construction worker she had bonded with so deeply. Now, you might be wondering why on earth she would do that, because eliminating him fourth guaranteed him a massive, completely safe payout of $40,000. If she had saved him for last and something went wrong with the game's final mechanics, he might have walked away with literally nothing. They had actually quietly agreed on this beforehand. She eliminated her most trusted ally on purpose just to protect him financially. And when Juan's screen finally lit up bright green, proving beyond a doubt that he had chosen to split the money, he dropped this absolutely incredible line: "Karma comes back 10 times. It was just a profound validation of Alison's entire strategy. She masterfully navigated deception, hacking a high-pressure system to reward pure honesty. It really leaves you wondering, though, if you were chained to a stranger for 30 days with $250,000 on the line, how sharp would your intuition really be? Would you have been able to spot the liars? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer today, and remember to always keep questioning what's beneath the surface.